What's up, friend? Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this simple logo animation using Adobe Illustrator and After Effects. You're going to be learning three main skills in this video. One, how to use the pencil tool in Adobe Illustrator to modify paths. Two, how to use the pen and shape tools in After Effects to animate strokes. And three, how to animate color transitions in After Effects. So without further ado, let's get started. Here I am in Adobe Illustrator, and I have my logo icon. Well, this is the phase of the logo icon that I'm going to be using. And I first want to import this into After Effects. So in order to do that effectively, I first want to organize my layers. So I have my layers here organized from bottom to top. That's how I like to organize my layers, whether I'm working in After Effects or Photoshop. I usually work from bottom up. And so I have my right eye layer, that right there, my left eye layer, I have my smile layer, and then I have each of the cookie crumbs layer. And those are all named, so that's how they're going to be imported into After Effects. So the first thing I want to do is go to File and Save, or Save As. If you haven't saved, then you can just click Save, but Save As. And I want to save this as an Adobe Illustrator file, an AI file. I'm just going to click Save. This is already saved for me, but you just want to click Save. And now I'm going to open up After Effects, and it's really simple. I have my File Explorer open, and all I want to do is click and drag that into After Effects and drop it right there. And I'm going to import kind as a composition. Footage dimensions is going to be document size, which I haven't set yet. So let's actually cancel that. Let's create a new composition, 1920 by 1080 width and height. And this composition is going to be called Render. And I want it to be 300 frames long, to be 10 seconds. The entire animation is going to be 10 seconds. And then I'm going to click and that's 30 FPS. So let's click OK. Next thing I want to do is go back and drag in that logo icon. So let's drag that in. Drop it right there. Okay, import kind, composition, footage dimensions, document size, and click OK. Now, as you can see, it's imported that Sweet Aria Wink icon AI file as its own composition, and it also has a folder with each of the layers that it imported from Adobe Illustrator. So I'm going to double click in that composition, the Sweet Aria Wink icon, and let's just fit this to my screen. Okay, so it imported the document size as it was in Illustrator, which was a square, and that's going to be fine because it fits right now render comp anyway. So as you can see, I have all of my layers here from bottom up, and I'm going to be using the pen tool to redraw these. Okay, so let's just zoom in a little, and I'm going to grab my pen tool, and let's start with the right eye. We're going to create a layer, go to Layer, New, and I want to create a shape layer. Layer, New, Shape Layer. And I'm going to rename it, right click it and rename it to Right Eye Trace. All right. And now with my pen tool selected, I want the fill to be set to nothing, and then the stroke to be set to this orange. So I'm going to click there and then click the eyedropper icon. And I'm just going to sample right from that orange in the logo. Let's make it just a little bit more saturated. I believe some of the colors being lost, but that's fine. And now I'm going to create 3 points. Click here, click the middle, and click there. And what I want to do is, my stroke size is set to 10, by the way. This is working for the logo that I've drawn here. Next, I'm going to click and hold the pen tool and go to my Convert Vertex tool. And I want to click each of these points to convert them to curves rather than sharp edges. Click there and click there. All right. And I'm going to go back to the pen tool, and I'm just going to click this point, and I want to bring out these handles here. Bring out that handle and bring this point over a little. And let's just make sure this is drawing properly. I can't really see it in that color yet. So what we want to do, as you can see, the bottoms of these are butt caps, are sharp square caps, but I want to change those to round. So what I want to do is go to my right eye trace layer, and I'm going to click U twice in order to open everything. And then for the stroke, I want to collapse that and then open the stroke 1 menu again. And you're going to see line cap right here. Line cap, it's set to butt cap. I want to change that to round cap. All right. And that does it for me. Now let's go back up to here, and I want to try to see if I could get these acting properly, because this isn't looking correct. Here we go. It also right here, get this. All right, so about right there. Now I'm going to change the stroke color back, use the eyedropper tool, sample that orange, make it a little strong. Okay, click OK. All right, so I have that right eye traced, and so I'm going to click U to collapse that again. Now let's trace the left eye. I'm going to go to layer, layer, new, and shape layer. And the same pen settings, using the pen tool, I want to create 3 points. One here, hold shift, click in the middle, hold shift, and click at the end. All right, and then I'm going to open those shape layer settings again, UU. And then stroke 1, I want to collapse that and then open it back up to see all of the options. Line cap, butt cap, change that to round cap. All right, and that is perfect. All right, and so next and lastly, well, let's rename this layer first. Shape layer. Let's rename that to left eye trace. All right, and let's collapse that. Now let's trace our smile layer. Layer, new, shape layer. Let's go down here a little, and we're going to use the pen tool again. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to use that convert vertex tool again, just on the middle point this time. Yeah, there we go. Open that those shape layer settings, stroke, collapse and expand, and then the line cap, change it to round cap. All right, now we're going to have to play around with the pen tool on these anchor points and see if we can fix this smile a little bit, get it acting proper. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, just did that out. All right. And there we go. And we're going to rename this layer to Smile Trace. All right, and press U to collapse that. Now we're going to delete the smile, left eye, and right eye layers. The original layers, we're going to hold Control and click all of those, and then press Delete on Windows. I think that's backspace on Mac. And so now I have all of those traced. My crumb layers, I do not need to retrace those because those are just going to be kind of dropped in during the animation. So the next thing we're going to have to do is go back into Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to open this project, and I have the different phases of the tongue. Now this is the original size of the tongue here, but I also wanted 2 more phases, when it's a little shorter and then when it's all the way up touching the eye. So what I did here in order to accomplish this was to go in here and press N for the pencil tool. Now double click on the pencil tool, and you're going to get these options, and the fidelity, I want to bring that all the way up to smooth. And basically what that does is if I were to bring this down, right, and I were to draw something, say right here, it's going to draw it exactly as I have it, which is not too bad, right? But let's say I bring it all the way up to smooth and draw that same thing. It smooths it out for me so that it's not so jaggedy and ragged. And so that's why I want to set that all the way up to smooth. I also want to enable this option, Alt key toggles to smooth tool. That'll be Option key on the Mac. But basically what that does is when you're drawing a shape, you can hold the Alt key in order to smooth the edges of it so that the shape looks a little better. And I'll show you a little bit of that as well. So let's draw that shape again. let's say I wanted to smooth this part. I hold Alt, and as you see, it turns into this, which is the smooth tool. And we're just going to draw around and I'm gonna get those a little bit more smooth, okay? So as you can see, it's just smoothing things out for me. And yeah, that's what that does. So, and then lastly, you wanna tell it how close to those shapes should it be before it starts editing. Edit selected paths, and we want to put it. Well, I have it within 6 pixels, which I believe is the default. But you can make it a little bit greater if you're starting to have problems with modifying your paths. So what that means is that, let's say I have a shape here, right? And let's say I fill it with the orange color and I press N for my pencil tool. Let's say I wanted to edit this shape. I start at an anchor point and I just draw how I want to edit and where anchor point I want it to end at. And all of a sudden I've modified that path, okay? So that's what happens when you have the pencil tool selected, edit path selected. When you have the options edit selected paths, you can edit paths with the pencil tool. And so that's basically what we're going to be doing down here for this tongue. And that's what I did to make it smaller and to make it larger. So to make it smaller, I'm just going to show you that real quick. Press N for my pencil tool, and I'm just going to draw this shorter like that. Smooth it out a little. And then I created another one when I just drew this all the way up. You know, you can smooth it out with the smooth tool, hold Alt and smooth it out. So that's how I created those, okay? So that's just the gist of how I got all of this done. So I'm just going to undo everything. Now, I actually don't need the rest of the face. I only need the tongue. And so I have these already grouped. So I'm going to double click in that group and I'm going to cut that, delete this, and Control-Shift-V to place that back in place. I'm going to do the same thing here. Control-X, Control or Command X on the Mac, Control-Shift-V, Command Shift-V on the Mac, and then here, Control or Command X and Control-Shift-V to paste it back in place. Now, what I want to do is to export each one of these as a separate EPS file. So I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to change the Save As type to Illustrator EPS. I want to use the artboards, and make sure your artboards are named. I name mine to low tongue, mid tongue, and high tongue, just so I can know what they are. And then you click Save and save it where you want it, okay? And so I'm going to go back to Adobe After Effects, and what I'm going to do is import those tongue transitions. I'm going to select all of those, low tongue, mid tongue, and high tongue. And I'm going to just drag those into After Effects right here. All right. And this is going to be the high tongue. Let's just rename that to high tongue. This is low tongue. I'm just going to rename that low tongue just so the file name is shorter and it's easier to recognize. And this is mid tongue. Okay, so now we have low tongue, mid tongue, and high tongue. Now, in order to animate these strokes here, the first thing we're going to do is animate the right eye. And I'm going to just stretch my timeline here. So it is about set to 5 frames, 5, 10, 15. So yeah, there we go. And we're going to use trim paths to animate this stroke from left to right. And so let's just hide all these cookie crumbs so we don't get distracted. Let's hide everything except for that right eye. Or yeah, so what I want to do is to click U on that right eye trace layer. Let's try this again. Click U or UU, unpack. Okay, and then under contents, next to contents, click Add, and we're going to click Trim Paths. Okay. And so basically trim paths allows you to modify which phase of the stroke as you drew it you want to show. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of that. Let's open that trim paths. And it has start, end, and offset. I want to animate the end. So right now it's set to 100%, which means it's showing the full end of this stroke. But let's bring that down to 0. And as you can see, as you bring it down, it shows more or less of the line. So we're going to bring that down to 0. And I'm going to go about 5 frames over. And I'm going to, well, I'm sorry. First of all, let's go back. Let's hit the stopwatch next to end to create a keyframe. Drag the timeline cursor over 5 frames and bring the endpoint up to 100%. All right. And so If we play that, we can see it animates that stroke. I'm going to animate this left eye. We're going to go in here, contents of the left eye trace, and we're going to add a trim path. And we're going to animate it in right when this right when the right eye animation ends. And so that sets into, oh wait, that layer is not even visible. That's probably why I was having trouble. Let's set that to 0. Set a keyframe. Go over 5 frames, and then set it to 100%. All right, and so that should animate that, and then that. All right, so yeah, so there we go. And I'm gonna just copy that trim path to the smile, and let's make sure we show that smile layer. So, yep. And what I'm gonna do, I want to move the smile layer. So let's select all of these layers, click U to show the keyframes. I'm going to select the keyframes for the smile and just put them at the end of the left eye animation. Let's select all of those keyframes, and I'm going to easy ease them. You can do that with F9, but I have a shortcut set for my video recording right now, which will end my recording. So I'm going to go to Animation, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. All right, and now I'm going to click here to open the graph editor, and right click and just make sure it's set to edit speed graph, because by default it's usually set to edit value graph. And what I want to do is to select the endpoint. Actually, let's do these one at a time. Yes. Let's see. Okay, let's try this again. Select those smile keyframes. Open here, and I'm going to expand this. And what I want to do is to highlight the anchor point on the right and just drag this over to here. So what that looks like is like this. It's fast at the front, and then it slowly ends like that. And I want to create the same type of animation for my other keyframe. So yeah, and this is a little fast, but that's generally what I'm going for. So what I'm going to do is just select these keyframes at the end and just drag them over some to make these animation a little longer. Okay. And the smile, I want that to actually start a little closer to the end of the left eye. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to select all of those layers, smile trace, right eye trace, left eye trace, click U just to collapse those. And now the next thing I want to animate is the tongue, okay? And so I'm going to bring in my tongue layers, my low, mid, and high tongue layers. And I'm going to just click and drag them on top of the smile trace. And I want them to be in order from, let's just click the low tongue, put that at the bottom, mid tongue in the middle, and high tongue on top, okay? And I want to animate them in right after the smile animates. So right here, right there. So I'm going to select all of those layer, hold shift, click on the first layer, hold shift, click on the last layer. And I'm going to press Alt left brackets to make sure they don't show up until that tongue is there. And I want to make them about 5 frames apart from each other. So Alt left brackets. And then Control right arrow key again. Click the high tongue layer, Alt left bracket. Just to sequence those in. And that might be too fast actually. Let's see. Yeah. So I actually want to put these about 5 frames apart. All right. Yeah, something like that. Let's see how that looks. It's actually too slow. compared to the rest of the animation. Let's see. There we go. And I want each of these to end when the next one starts. So low tongue, let's put it to where the mid tongue starts and press Alt, right bracket. Bring it in a little bit more. Same thing with this one. Alt, right brackets. Bring it in a little more. All right, and so Alt, right bracket about right there. So yeah, I don't actually want to cut off the high tongue yet until the left eye is finished animating. So now in order to animate that left eye up, and also I want to select all of my tongue layers and just use the right arrow key, the down arrow key just to bring those down because they're a little too high. As you see, it had that gap between the tongue and the smile. Let's do it right there. And now let's go to our left eye trace layer. And let's press UU to open all of that. And we want to click the path. And we're going to animate this. So we're going to, let's just go back a little bit and add a keyframe. Click the stopwatch next to path to add a keyframe. Then right when the tongue hits it right here, I want that layer to start to bend up. So let's get our pen tool and let's drag this point up. Whoops. Sometimes as you see, it'll select the whole thing instead of selecting individual anchor points. But what we have to do here is click on the shape layer and okay, yeah. So click on the shape layer itself, the left eye trace layer itself, and then start bending that. So let's convert vertex tool first. And let's convert all of these. Then back to the pen tool. I'm going to drag that up. Well, I need to actually convert vertex back. I think I undid what I did earlier. Yep, there we go. So I'll bend it up a little bit like that. Now let me just see something real quick to see if this will look proper. Yeah, so right now, let's do, okay. Let's do it about right there. And then go through keyframes and bring this right here. And go through more keyframes and all the way up. All right. And so, yeah, so something like that. Let's select all of those and I'm going to easy ease them. And let's view this whole thing. So let's zoom out some. And something like that. Let's move these over just a little. There we go. So it looks like the tongue actually hit the eye. All right, and so that covers the logo icon animation for the most part. The next thing we're going to want to do is to animate the color. So I'm going to go back to my render composition. And it's, as you can see, 1920 by 1080. And I'm going to drag in my Sweet Aria wing icon composition that we just worked in. So let's just right click that, rename it to icon animation. All right, and just drag that into the render comp. And let's play that. There we go. What I'm going to do is to create a new layer, shape layer. Let's click and drag it below the icon animation. And we're going to go to the rectangles tool, the shape tool, and create an ellipse. I want the fill color to be set to white and the stroke color to be removed. So let's click on the word stroke and let's change it to none. Click OK. All right. And this circle is going to basically fill the whole screen with white as soon as the tongue hits the left eye. So about right there. I want to, let's zoom in some. I want to place this circle about right there. And let's go back to our move tool, and let's just move that so that it's right but behind the eye so you can't see it. And we're going to keyframe. We're going to keyframe the scale property. So let's click on that shape layer. Let's rename it real quick to circle. And we're going to click the S on the keyboard to open up the scale properties. And what I'm going to do is to go about 5 frames. Oh, let's go about maybe a few frames over. And let's enlarge the scale to, let's open the circle properties. And let's go to contents. Let's go to that ellipse. And we want to ellipse. Let's see. That's animating the from the anchor point. Let's okay, yeah, that's what we want to animate. So we want to actually open the ellipse path properties and keyframe the size. And so let's create a keyframe about right when the tongue touches that. Let's create a keyframe right there with the stopwatch. Right when the eye is fully bent, we're going to scale this size up to until it fills the entire canvas. So let's zoom out some so we can see this. All right, let's see if that's too fast, because that might be a little fast. I'm gonna make it a little slower. There we go. Seems like it's swoosh. And we're going to easy ease those. Keyframe assistant, animation keyframe assistant. Easy ease, you can use F9. And right when it touches that, when it fills the top, we want to start animating the color. So we're going to have it change colors to an orange. So without contents ellipse 1, we're going to go to fill 1 and open that. Right now it's set to white, obviously. Where it says color, click the stopwatch to create a keyframe. And let's go a few frames over. And we want to change this fill color. Click the eyedropper tool and just sample from our orange tongue. All right. And let's see how fast that works. Yeah, that's fine. Let's just easy ease those. Keyframe assistant and easy. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's nice. Next thing we want to do is to add a fill, because we want the icon to also change colors. Right when that changes colors. And so let's click U on both of those, open those up. Open those keyframes, and then right when this starts to change color, right there, we want the icon to change color as well. So we're gonna go in effects and presets, and we're gonna type in fill, F-I-L-L, and under generate, we want to click this CC fills, and we want to just make sure the icon animation layer is selected, and just double click fill. And what we want to do is to add a keyframe right there where the color starts to change for that big old circle. Click this, create a keyframe, and it's going to line up right where this changes to orange. This is going to change to white. All right, and let's just reselect the icon animation layer. Click U to show keyframes. Select those keyframes and go to animation keyframe assistant, easy ease. All right, now starting back from the beginning, let's play that. And there you go. And so that's basically how I created this simple logo animation with Illustrator and After Effects. If you found this tutorial to be helpful, be sure to leave a like, comment below if there was a better way to do this, because I'm pretty sure there probably was, or an easier way. And if you don't want to miss my next tutorial, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for all notifications. And until next time, take chances, make mistakes, and create something incredible. God bless.